Hi guys, welcome to my channel and the very first video. My name is Queen Esie. My full name is actually Esther Calixabea, okay, but everybody calls me Queen Esie because that's my Instagram handle, and just call me Queen Esie. So in this channel I'll be talking about my body hair journey, and in this first video, oh my gosh, I speak so fast, I'm sorry, I will slow down. In this first video I'll be talking about why I decided to keep my chest hair. So as you know, or might know me from my lavender project that I put on Instagram, which was a project about femininity and female body hair. I created this project where I made this dress and showed my chest hair for the first time. Nobody knew I had chest hair besides my mom, I think, and my aunt. Those were the two only people, and I'm not even sure if my sister knew. I was hiding it from everybody, constantly lifting up my shirt all the time, and I couldn't even wear like shirts that were like v-neck because I was so ashamed, and I had never seen anybody else with it, and so it was very hard for me, and it took me, honestly, it took me 10 years before accepting how hairy I am. So I will say it's because of the lavender project. It's because, you know, I set myself free, you know, through the lavender project. I made a decision that that was enough, and I was gonna stop worrying about this, and I was gonna start loving myself as I am. And, you know, I truly accepted it because I was praying a lot. Honestly, I was praying a lot, and I was talking to God. I was like, God, why did you do this to me? Why did you make me like this? You know, and it was really hard, and I just thought to myself, like, this is ridiculous. Like, why am I so hairy? Like, I have hair everywhere, honestly, and I used to have hair on my face as well, but before the lavender project, so before I accepted myself as I am, being a hairy woman, I was going to the aesthetician to remove my facial hair permanently. So I don't have facial hair anymore. It's very rare that I have hair coming out of my face these days. But I had personally decided to keep my chest hair. Yeah, and so I remember growing up and removing it and feeling normal. I remember I removed it and I felt like I was a normal person, but the thing is, my body would react negatively to shaving, waxing, anything that was done for my chest hair would react negatively. I would have a bunch of pimples, scars, ingrown hair. It was ugly, and my skin is still healing from that. And so yeah, and so you know, when I removed it, I was like, I feel normal. And I started thinking about it, like, why do I have something wrong with being different? You know? And it's just like, just crying. I would cry about it all the time. I was depressed. I was suicidal. Like, I was like, I hated my life. You know, I was very depressed when I was younger, but I thought I was ugly, but also I was hairy, so it was even worse. And so yeah, so I remember talking to God one day and being like, God, I don't understand why I have this. And like, I was having this whole conversation. He was telling me to accept myself as I am. And I had to constantly work on myself for years, constantly. And he had told me, you know what, there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with society. And that stayed in my mind. And actually this sentence, there's nothing wrong with you, there's something wrong with society, actually is, I think, the title of the Glamour UK interview I had in February. It's funny, but like, yeah, and it was so true. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. Women have always had hair. You know, if it weren't true, there wouldn't even be aestheticians, you know what I mean? There wouldn't be these places, because so many women have hair on their face, have a mustache, have hair on their entire body, that these businesses are even exist because of us, and they're making so much money out of us, out of our self-hate and this thing that they're promoting to make money. They don't care about us, right? And so it's, for me, it was important to figure that out, but also to do a bit of research and realize that body hair is completely normal. You know, it stores warmth. It, you know, it stabilizes, it kind of stabilizes our I meant to say regulate. So basically body hair regulates your body temperature. It stores heat and kind of makes sure that, you know, your body is in the right temperature when it's cold and all of that. And our eyebrows, you know, helps, you know, it prevents sweat from going into our eyes and etc. So basically body hair on all parts of our body has a purpose. Body hair has a purpose. And, you know, so, you know, I remember being at the esthetician and thinking about permanently removing it. And I was just lying there and I was thinking about it. They were like, she kept asking me, so are we gonna start removing it? Are we gonna start removing it? And I was like, sure, because I have hair until here, right? I have a bit of hair here. And I was like, yeah, just remove it until there, because I want to wear crop tops without having hair coming out of my top. And she was like, all right. And every time she's like, okay, should we go lower? Should we go lower? And I was like, no, because I was still thinking about it. I was still thinking about my body hair. I was like, do I really want it to be completely removed? You know, as I was slowly accepting myself, it started being part of who I was, about my, you know, my personal identity. And so I started to feel uncomfortable seeing it, you know, seeing myself without it. And, you know, months went by and I decided to create the Lavender Project, which set me free. And I've got I received so many positive responses from other women who also have chest hair and that are hairy and don't, you know, have been going through a lot as I was. And so it was very difficult to love myself, to learn to love myself and all that. But, you know, for me, I always told myself it only takes a decision to break free from this prison. You know, it was a burden to me. I was not well mentally. It was hard. I felt like nobody could love me. And that's a lie, obviously. It's a lie we always tell ourselves when we feel like we're just not good enough and etc. But that's not true. And so for me, it was, you know, a personal decision that I do not regret. I'm so happy that I made this decision. I feel happier. I love myself now. I can look at myself in the mirror and smile, you know. So also, you know, I decided to keep my chest hair, and I also decided to keep my armpit hair as well for mes poils, for the movement mes poils, which is here in Montreal. And kind of like, you know, it's all about accepting our body hair, you know. And I love movements like that, you know. And it's funny because even before my Lavender Project, I didn't even know there was communities of women that would be there to accept me, and you know what I mean. I didn't know I had a home, in a sense. I didn't know there was other women that, you know, would be encouraging me as well. And so I was completely alone when I first did my Lavender Project, and then I found these amazing accounts of other women who have chosen to wear their body hair, to keep it. And so yeah, so in a way for me, I also recently learned that it was hereditary what I have. So it's in my Ivorian side, because I'm half Haitian and half Ivorian. So my hairiness, the chest hair and even the hair on the face, is from my Ivorian side of the family, from my grandfather's side. So the women used to have body hair, and back then it was seen as beautiful. And so in a way, it's kind of like what I'm doing, the activism that I'm doing through my art is kind of like decolonizing the, you know, beauty image that I have, that we've all been implanted in our, that's been implanted in our brains, right? So it's kind of like decolonizing this, because obviously it wasn't like this. Body hair is beautiful and it was natural. Women were wearing it, were keeping it back then, before, you know, the Western world took over and ruined everything. I'm sorry. But anyways, that just, it took over and changed the way we felt about ourselves, made us hate ourselves. And they didn't care, because they were making, and are still making, tons of money promoting this self-hate movement. But yeah, so yeah, so I decided to keep it because I find it beautiful, you know. I look at it, I find it beautiful. I'm sorry, you guys can't see it for some reason. But it's here, and you guys can go on my Instagram and see my pictures. So for me, my slogan is you know, power, donc puissance. On montre nos poils avec classe, so we show our body hair with class. So for me, it's all about showing your body hair and being beautiful, wearing dresses, wearing whatever you want, feeling beautiful with your body hair. And through my pictures, that's what I show. I make outfits from time to time, and I take pictures of myself where we see my body hair, where we see my chest hair, and you know, in a sense, it's empowering. But it's just so nice to see that, because you just don't see that elsewhere. We don't see that in magazines, right? And so for me, my Instagram is like my personal magazine, personal gallery, where I show these images that people don't really see. And so accepting myself as I was, accepting my body hair, was a personal decision. And after I realized that I had a greater purpose in helping other women and other people love themselves as they are and love their body hair. And because there are a lot more hairy women than we think, and you guys are beautiful and you are loved, and I support you in your body hair journey, body hair acceptance journey, and if you choose not to accept it. And if you have any questions, anything, I am right here. Ask me whatever you want, DM me, and I'm here with you. You know, it's not easy, you know, like I said, it took me 10 years, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Write down if you want like specific subjects that you guys want me to talk about. Write it down, feel free, I will talk about them. And yeah. So don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification button, and see you soon.